if you have epilepsy, don't watch the film. Well, there's only like one sequence where it's kind of like yucky. It's pretty excessive with the flashing lights. I'm fine with it. Well, not for this movie. Like, I'm fine with flashing lights in general because I go to a lot of concerts, they do that. But the sequence where there's like a party or whatever, it's excessive. It makes you just want to just like scream. Anyways, I watched The Bride. It was like a few days ago. I was supposed to make a video on this like a few days ago, but I was just too tired because of nursing school. It's been killing me. Even today, I still haven't finished everything, so I'm probably just gonna do that right after this. But I really don't know where to start. Well, I have it all listed out here, my bullet points that I want to cover. But I guess to start off, the movie goes into so many different directions, and with that, you're kind of wondering, what is this movie about? How exactly are we? Like, who are we hearing from? And you're probably thinking, Andrew, what do you mean by that? I don't know if I am watching The Bride or if I am watching someone's active imagination on what the world looks like to them. But before I go into like that yapping part, I guess I'll just start off by saying that this movie sets up a very false expectation right from the start. I won't like spoil it yet, but the movie sets up where you see the bride's like past a little bit, and then right after they kind of like done with that segment, there's like this like narrator like voice or whatever that I'll go deep into, because this because there's a like a role for that narrator. The narrator says, if you are scared of or if Frankenstein's story makes you scared, The Bride will make you scream help. But really, the movie, for me, it was like, help, what the hell am I watching? Because I don't understand what is going on. It hypes you up from the start, but it dies as you watch this film. Like, the opening is honestly the only good part of this film. Well, alongside like a few other things, me a little bit, but the opening is the most intense part, I felt like. Everything else is just kind of goofy and yucky and wonky. And I do want to talk about it, so I'm going to get into spoilers. I won't go into like every nitty gritty detail. I'll just talk about like some of the biggest like yucky moments I thought this film delivered. One of the things that this movie does is make you question, what perspective are we watching this in? So there's like an omnipresent character in this film, played by Jake Gyllenhaal's sister, and she plays the author, Mary Shelley, who wrote the Frankenstein books. And you're wondering, like, at first you're probably thinking, oh, okay, so we're just gonna have like Mary like kind of narrate some stuff for us. Okay, that's fine, whatever. But she plays a role where she will possess the bride, and shut up. The bride will say some things that Shelley's possessing her to say, and the bride's like aware, like, oh, what the heck just happened? Oh, anyways, let's move on. And then the bride will like kind of yap about a whole lot of things, but then you can't really tell who's talking. Is it the bride or is it Mary? And you're wondering, what's up with the possession here? Is there some sort of like supernatural element that they want to add to this film? Not really. I mean, the possession, yeah, it's supernatural, but there's nothing that it leads to. It's just there. Like, I don't know what it was for, and I have a theory. I'll get into that in a second, but that's just the first big thing, the first big complaint that I have, is that the narrator plays a role in this, but you're just wondering why. Why are we watching, the bride with Mary being like an omnipresent figure into this? Like, what's her role? Is she just trying to possess the bride to make her scary? Because she makes her look goofy with the whole possession thing. Like, she does like the like all that stuff. It's just really weird and very disturbing. I'm assuming the reason why she has Mary, I'm gonna take off my headphones for this. Like, I think the purpose here for Mary is that she possesses the bride to kind of project what she feels about societal norms and like what the views are on women, where the biggest issue I think with women in like that time period in the 1800s, because that's where this whole thing sets place in, is sexism. Like, that's a point that I feel like she's trying to make here, but it's just so loud, and I don't think the point is being delivered properly. Like, it's not executed, but even if it was executed, it's like you're sitting there wondering, are we watching a story about the Bride and Frankenstein, or are we watching uh an imagination of like Mary of what she would have done? Like I thought the Bride was like her alter ego or something. Like, it's really weird. It's really confusing. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I even went on Google to try and figure out what all of that meant. But it's like, nope. Even people were confused too. Like, this movie really was a big mess. Oh yeah, and like Mary being an omnipresent like character in this film isn't like the only thing that makes you wonder what the heck, like why. Another great example of why is this happening is there's like a musical number with like Frankenstein and the Bride. The Bride's name is Ida, by the way, but she goes by Penny because Frankenstein lied to her about her whole like resurrection and backstory thingamajigabob or whatnot. But I'll get into that like later. They do a musical number and everyone around them is like dancing, and you're wondering, okay, maybe this is going on in like Ida's imagination, her mind. But nope, everyone is like literally dancing with each other. And even like when you see like the cops coming in to swarm around them and like surround them and like arrest them, they're all still dancing. And it's like, what? So like this is like legit happening right now then, right? Like, why are they joining them? Or maybe they're just like so enthusiastic about dancing that they couldn't help themselves and join them. Why though? Like, I don't know what the musical number was for. I mean, it was, I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was cool, or I thought it was fun, because I do like musical numbers. Like, even if they're horribly executed like this one here, I still enjoyed it, but I'm just kind of confused as to what the freaking point was. I just realized I just said a whole lot of things without kind of giving context. I feel like I should have done that at first, so I'm gonna do that right now. So the Bride and Frankenstein, you know, they get together. Well, they're not like officially together yet, but they're like hanging out at a party. These two people, right when they're about to leave, they try and rape the Bride, and I'm gonna go by Ida. I don't know why I keep saying the Bride. So Ida, so they try to they attempt to rape Ida, and they're like bullying Frankenstein, slapping him, saying, "You stupid, you goofy, you yucky, smelly, and he curb stomps these rapists, and now the world is after, or now like the cops and like the enforcement are after them, and for, you know, killing the rapist. And you know, those two, while they're on the run, they come across this like party where Jake Gyllenhaal is in it. He's like the actor of this like movie that Frankenstein like likes to enjoy watching. It's like a opera, like I don't know what those are called, but they get there, they're at the party and Frankenstein and Ida, they both dance and have this like musical number while the cops are on their ass. And then the cops like get to them, and then Ida, she, you know, pulls out the gun and like, you know, threatens while she goes on this whole monologue, this whole like yapping speech about society and corruption and whatever. And it's like, okay, yep, I don't know where this is going, but okay. And then there are moments where you'll see Ida and Frank, they are on like the big screen, like, oh, excuse me, like, so there's a scene where they go to like a drive-through theater, and they're like, Frank is like telling Ida where she really is from, or how she really came back to life. It wasn't like, I don't know, man. She was like lied to, like, oh, her real name is not really Penny, it's Ida. We dug you up from the grave. I thought that was already kind of established at the beginning, but I guess not. Maybe I just missed out that part because I was already really bored in watching the movie. They're at this drive-thru theater where Frank tells Ida about like the origin of her, like ever since she woke up. And then on the screen, like the theater that they're showing, you see Frank and Ida there on the screen as well. And you're wondering why, or I'm wondering why. What is going on? I don't get it. I googled it up. Maybe there's some symbolism behind it. Nope, it was just there, and it was really goofy. You could tell, and that was like kind of near the end of the film where everyone is just so confused and tired of like what they're watching. Like they're just like giggling. They're just like, what is this? Like this is some goofy shit. And like I kind of already complained a lot about it. I will give credit for what I thought was done well. The only thing that was done well, other than the opening, and I think there's nothing better than to say what they did with Frankenstein here and kind of his motives here, I thought was good. With what they did with Frankenstein, kind of explaining his motives on why he wants a wife. So we see that he's been in the world for a while now, and he has lived to the point where he is just desensitized to like people viewing him as a monster. Like even like the mad scientist who was like responsible for bringing Ida to life. So like you know, she sees him and she's like, ugh. And then, you know, Frankenstein's like, oh, yeah, it's typical. Like, I like what they did with that. It shows that he's been in the world for a while now. Like, he's very aware, you know, what people think of him. He knows all of that, but says, I don't care. I just want love because he is lonely. Everyone only views him as a monster, as this, like, creature not to be, you know, have feelings for, and he's so lonely that he's so desperate that he goes to like the mad scientist to bring someone to life. And even when she's like saying like some reasonable things like, oh, like what if you don't like her, what if you don't find her attractive, he's like, nope, I don't care, I will love her. And that just shows how desperate he is. Even when Ida gets all like goofy and like acts all like silly at the beginning, the like Frank is just like gawking at her and just smiling at every little thing that she does because he's just so excited. He's just so happy that this is like a dream coming true. And you know, later the goal is accomplished, you know, because they get together, they're having fun together, they make love. But that's the only good thing. And speaking about motives and goals, what is the bride's goals? Because I don't get what's happening along with the possession by the narrator, by the author here, who's not really the author, it's just Jake Gyllenhaal's sister. But you're wondering, what is she trying to do? What does she want? Because she'll go on about how, like, because after she killed this, like, one cop, she is just like, oh, I can't believe I did that. Oh, I don't want to do this. And then, oh, like, I want to do it. Oh, I don't care. Like, oh, I regret it. Like, I'm just sitting there just wondering what, like, I don't know what's going on, man. But after that whole fiasco that she does, she inadvertently starts an insurrection. It's kind of like when you see the Joker, where in the first movie, not the second one. Well, it's low-key kind of a first and second combined. The second movie with its like musical number, and like the first having like this like revolution, right? Like people are dressing up as the bride and like starting shooting people, like starting anarchy after, you know, her whole monologue and Ida killing the cop as some sort of like, you know, revolution, even though she didn't really try and do it. That happens, but then it gets no attention after that until the very end, where they harass the gangster and like forcibly like put on the makeup to make him look like the bride. And that gangster was the one responsible for the killing of Ida in the first place, when she like tried to expose the crimes when she was drunk. Like the revolution just had no purpose. Like I thought that this was like a pivotal moment where things might get interesting, but nope, it leads to nothing. You just get people just like being all goofy, being, you know, oh my god, the hiccups. They're like shooting people up and whatever, and then it leads to nowhere until the very end. You see them again. Well, it's like, well, why should we care? The movie's already over. Like, what? And I'm sorry, I've kind of went all over the place, but trust me, this is the last thing that I want to talk about, and it's these two detectives that are after Frank and Ida. So there is this detective. I forgot his name, but he turns out he was associated with Ida in like her past life, where so Ida is a prostitute who was even involved with the gangsters in the first place. She was just like someone that they were paying for her services. The detective did that as well. He paid for her services, but also he was sort of responsible for the morally great decisions he made, where it got her killed in the first place, that she was involved with that gang. I don't remember exactly how it all, like, because he quickly talks about it after like we see him encounter Ida, and like he has this like emotional moment where it's like he's like looking at her, he's like, oh my gosh, like, he feels like all this guilt, and you're sitting there wondering, oh, like he knows her, okay, well, how? And he explains it to the female detective, Myrna. I remember her name because she's played by Penelope Cruz. I did not think she was in this film, but it was a welcoming surprise. But anyways, he tells her about it, and then he gets sidelined for the rest of the film. And now Myrna is like sympathizing. She wants to save Ida from this whole mess. She fails. The cops, they eventually get to her along with this other gangster that the mob boss was like trying to task him with to kill her to avoid any like troubles that she could get the gang in. And the cops like start blasting at her. And prior to that, like Frank dies too, like from the cops. And the Myrna, who has like the discretion of the detective, because he actually gave her that like his badge because he wanted to resign after what he had done, in what kind of set this whole thing up in the first place, even though that's not really like addressed how exactly. She makes all the cops leave the mad scientist like room, and she winks at the mad scientist saying, take all the time you need before we take you in for questioning. And then the mad scientist resurrects Frank and the bride. So I guess we're getting a sequel. Yay! Movie sucks, guys. I recommend you not watching it. It was not good. And I gotta say, the acting in this film, they did try. I'll give them credit. But the story was just so bad. The dialogue was so weird and awkward that it doesn't do the acting justice. Giving it a rating on the yellow spectrum, this is just piss yellow. I don't even bother putting in the animation because I'm just tired of talking about this film. I've already kind of probably confused you guys. Probably gave you a headache as much as this movie gave me a headache. But anyways, that's all I wanted to say. That's about it. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next review. Peace.